were we visited by an extraterrestrial from the planet Venus in 1957, as a warning to get Earth's affairs in order before we destroy ourselves. Did United States high-level officials from the Pentagon ignore this call to action? Or was the whole encounter merely the work of a Judaeo-Christian evangelical doomsday missionary? On today's episode, I'll tell you the story of Valiant Thor, the man from Venus, with a penis.
Created by human.
The dude was pretty much a man, so
Yeah.
he had a penis.
Junior high, here we come.
Here we come. Unfortunately, this week, Josh is not with us. Josh is in Guatemala.
Boo!
Josh is the worst. He is on vacation in Guatemala. I asked him if he would bring me back some guacamole from Guatemala.
Guatemala.
I don't know if he will, though. Josh, you are sorely missed.
This one's for you, buddy.
We love you.
This one's for you.
This one is for you. Let's talk about the arrival of Valiant Thor. Stranger at the Pentagon, a book written by Dr. Frank Stranges, originally published in 1967, shares a report from Harley Andrew Bird, a man claiming to have worked in a high-security position at the Pentagon that was involved with Project Blue Book. Tim, Project Blue Book was a U.S. Air Force program established March of 1952 and then ran until December of 1969. It was to investigate UFOs.
Project Blue Book. You had me at Project Blue Book.
Ooh, yes. According to Dr. Stranges, on March 16th, 1957, Bird's department received a police report about an alien visitor that had been picked up in Alexandria, Virginia. A police officer witnessed a UFO landing in a field. A tall white man emerged from the craft and approached the officer, calmly identifying himself as Valiant Thor. Claiming to be sent by the High Council of Venus, he requested that he might speak with President Eisenhower. Valiant Thor, also referred to as Val or Thor, was reportedly taken directly to the Pentagon without incident. The policeman took Thor to the Pentagon, where he eventually spoke with Eisenhower, VP Richard Nixon, the Secretary of Defense, and other Joint Chiefs. According to Stranges, Thor was given a 3-year VIP status at the Pentagon from 1957 to 1960, where he conducted numerous meetings with persons of high influence in the United States government. Around this time, Bird claims that Dr. Stranges was brought in to meet Valiant Thor. Bird describes Stranges as a private investigator, a minister, and a theologian. Thor's objective was to voice concerns from the High Council over the way humanity on Earth was evolving. In particular, its apparent lust for nuclear weapons during the Cold War and leading up to the Cuban Missile Crisis, which would take place in October of 1962. Thor stated that building up the country's nuclear arsenal would create an economic imbalance around the world.
That last part's interesting. The whole thing is interesting. The fact that you start off with a cop in a field sitting in his car and he's like about to take a bite of his donut. And then he's like, what just went by my car?
Holy shit, was that an alien spacecraft?
Wanda.
Wanda,
I don't know.
Wanda,
we got a 3045.
I'm not sure exactly who this is, but I'm pretty sure it's an alien visitor.
We got a 1045 on a I-90.
Looks just like a white guy, but fell out of a spacecraft of some sort.
Yeah. I know he's from Venus, and let me just say something before all the skeptics are like, okay, nobody lives on Venus. Who says he lives on Venus? He could be in a civilization that's much bigger and better than ours, that's in a station near Venus.
Oh, and we do go into that. So do you think when it lands, the spaceship lands, is it like the door slowly comes down from the spacecraft and hits the ground? Mist, because they have mist machines.
Yeah, mist.
All spacecrafts have mist machines.
Everything, always, yeah.
So the mist comes out. Valiant Thor slowly walks out, looking just like a man. That's the problem, is he didn't look like a gray or anything like that. He looked like a man.
He looked like, he's got a nose, eyes, ears. I've seen that.
Officer Barney Fife is all like, What's
What is
going on?
happening?
What is this, man? Is that one of them Japanese vehicles?
Is that one of them Foo Fighters? You got David Grohl up in that ship?
Valiant Thor has been taken to the Pentagon. According to Stranges, Eisenhower asks Thor where he is from, to which Thor gives a rather cryptic response: the morning and the evening star. I'm going to read you the alleged exchange that was given by Stranges in his book that he provided, that is apparently the conversation between Valiant Thor and President Eisenhower. Eisenhower: please, sir, what is your name and where do you come from? Thor:
I come from the planet that your Bible calls the morning and the evening star.
Eisenhower: Venus? Thor:
Yes, sir.
Eisenhower: can you prove this? Thor:
What do you constitute as proof?
Eisenhower: I don't know. What do you constitute as proof?
Marvin the Martian.
A proton space modulator to blow up the Earth.
According to Thor, Venetians live inside Venus. As you had mentioned before, maybe he lived around Venus or near Venus.
Inside it sounds really good. Get inside that Venus. I'm sorry.
Man, I'm deep inside that Venus, is what he told Eisenhower. Eisenhower: I'm deep inside that Venus, sir. Have we taken this too far? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Stranges claims to have had many meetings with Valiant Thor over the decades that would follow their initial meeting at the Pentagon. Dr. Stranges claims to have met Valiant Thor during Christmas week in 1959. At this time, Stranges claims he had just returned from a meeting with Fidel Castro in Cuba, and he was delivering scientific lectures and speaking at churches. Stranges describes meeting Thor at the Pentagon that winter. The meeting began with Thor showing Stranges a shimmering garment that looked like sunshine, made from extraterrestrial material. Then he told Stranges his true reason for coming to Earth: to bring humanity closer to God.
Wow.
We did mention that Stranges was also this missionary, this evangelical preacher. It's very interesting in the story that Valiant Thor would connect with Stranges and say, I'm here to bring you guys closer to God.
It is so fascinating. If it's true, I mean, wow. What are we doing? Why can't we be uniting with these people or doing something to further along our cause, you know?
If a story like this is true, is our government hiding it? And we are getting bits and pieces of it, but there's not enough because it hasn't been validated.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps we're still in conversation with Valiant Thor.
And we might be. I mean, this is a guy, Dr. Stranges, who wrote a book and says that he met Valiant Thor. So this is firsthand information. As we go on in this story, we're going to get a little bit more information about Stranges that might shed some light on some things.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Todd.
You're very welcome, Tim.
I'm starting to get like the little boy in A Princess Bride. You know, I'm all antsy. My hands are pulling the sheets.
What's happening?
And the grandpa's like, are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to stop? Should we go to bed? Do you need to just go to bed? No, we can continue.
Then let's continue.
Okay.
Dr. Stranges was just a self-proclaimed UFO expert and private investigator. He was also an evangelical Christian minister, and the different areas of his life often overlapped. Decades before Stranger in the Pentagon was published, Stranges founded the International Evangelical Crusades, a worldwide ministry in 1959, the same year that he would claim to have met Valiant Thor. That's kind of interesting. In Dr. Strange's account of meeting Valiant Thor, the extraterrestrial messenger offered a message very much in line with Strange's evangelical beliefs. Valiant Thor assures Stranges that the people of Venus see the Judaeo-Christian God and Jesus Christ as the primary deities in the universe. Valiant Thor, this alien from Venus, vision aligns perfectly with Dr. Strange's. Coincidence? There are claims from some of these other stories, and this even being one of the stories, that when Jesus left Earth, when he ascended to heaven, and even before he came back, he visited other planets, that he continued the message of Judeo-Christianity.
What the bleep do we know, Todd?
We don't know anything.
I think this is so sensational, but I love it. I'd love for Valiant Thor to just show up in my office here and just be like, it's all true. You know what I'm saying? I want to have that moment with this.
I think that's what we all want, though. We all want that validation. I mean, I can't tell you, man. I mean, I believe in so many things, and then, certain things I read and I go, that's got to be nonsense, but maybe it's true. I mean, there's plenty of times that I've looked up at the sky and said, hey, aliens, if you're out there, show me something. I mean, come visit me. I'd love to have a conversation. I'd love to pick your brain.
It'd be freaky.
It would absolutely be freaky, but can you imagine that? Now, okay, let's think about this, though. If that did happen, and I came to you, Tim, and I said, Tim, you won't believe what happened. Aliens visited me, they took me up in their spacecraft, and we went into outer space, and I asked them all the questions, and I got all the answers. And then you would say, Todd, did you happen to record it on your iPhone? No.
Yeah,
No, I didn't. But I can tell you about it. Now, are you going to believe me?
No, not really. I mean, it's going to be hard. I'll be like, dude, that's wow. What? I mean, what can I do with information like that?
That's the information that we get all the time from
All the
people.
time. Yeah, it's true.
It's this happened. And we go, oh my gosh, that's interesting. Maybe it did. Can you show me some more proof? Like you said with Valiant Thor, yeah, there's pictures, a couple pictures, but we don't know that that's Valiant Thor. What I do find interesting about these stories is that there is some information given and then, translated out to the public, but it doesn't seem like very informative information. It's just like, yeah, we live in the center of Venus. Oh, wow. How does that work? Why didn't nobody write that down? Like, how does that work? Like, I would love to hear how that works. You guys have oxygen there? I mean, you seem to be breathing oxygen just fine here on Earth without an apparatus. This episode is sponsored by Advance Merch. If you're a brand, band, or business, Advance Merch can service all of your custom decorated apparel, design, and fulfillment needs. From in-house screen printing and embroidery to full-service e-commerce development and support, Advance Merch is a one-stop shop for all your custom merchandise. Visit Advance Merch for additional information and submit a quote request today. Mention Created by Human to receive 10% off your first custom apparel order. Thor does explain to Bird the differences between a Venetian and a human.
What does he say?
During Bird's account with Valiant Thor's meeting, Thor describes what life is like on Venus. Venetians, according to Thor, survived the planet's inhospitable climate by living underground. Thor claims that other planets in the solar system were home to similar civilizations and that Earth was the only planet where most people lived above ground.
Ooh.
Thor also promised one day that a large group of Venetians would travel to Earth to help with the Earth's seemingly insurmountable problems, and that extraterrestrials from distant star systems would one day do the same.
There are at least 36 intelligent alien civilizations. There are aliens out there that look like praying mantises, supposedly. There's lizard people. There's Nordics. There are grays, right? The standard grays. Then there's like another higher version of them or something. Nonetheless, Valiant Thor now, maybe he's a Nordic. Maybe he's a offshoot of one of these different species,
The explanation of how we have so many different ethnicities all over the planet, and it's said that it's because, as we developed over hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years, that we just became accustomed to our region of the planet. Hence, while some people look a certain way or have a different color skin and different features, that's been the explanation by scientists. Let's take it kind of far out there. Is it possible that a lot of these people that live on Earth that look different from each other are from different alien races from all over the universe?
I hope not. Valiant Thor, I'm going to guess, like if I had a guess, are they truly Venetians? I don't think they started there. I think Valiant Thor grew up there and it was like so long that they'd been there that they've forgotten.
So there is that theory that civilization here on Earth, we've advanced so far. And then even if we go back to kind of the Great Flood, 10,000, 12,000 years ago, you can take it biblically, you can take it from Sumerian texts. But if we go back to that and we go, all right, we were a small group of people that have now advanced to where we are in 2022. I truly believe that we've done this over and over again, that we've advanced, either something outside of this earth has come and destroyed us and we've had to start over, or we have destroyed ourselves. But even with that being said, so is it possible at some point that we were even more advanced than we are today here on earth? And at that point, we were like, you know what? We are so technologically advanced that we can go explore the universe. And we did. So we ended up on maybe Mars, maybe Venus, maybe other planets. Then all of a sudden, 12,000 years ago, the flood happens, everyone dies, and then us from our past go, oh my gosh, let's see how they restart.
We do it again. We reset it. We're just developing. We're going on into space, and there's some weird stars that we live by, but pretty soon we begin to take on the characteristics of our environment.
We're talking about proof. Why is there never proof? Now, we did mention that there was a photo taken of Valiant Thor and his crew. In his account of meeting Valiant Thor in 1959, Dr. Strange's claims that an American intelligence agent named Nancy Warren approached him with photographic proof of an extraterrestrial's existence. She showed him a photograph of what appears to be an ordinary human man in an earthly-style suit. The photographs were supposedly taken in 1957 when Valiant Thor and his 3 Venetian companions, Don, Jill, Tanya, attended a convention of UFO enthusiasts in the backyard of a New Jersey man's home.
I mean,
hey man, welcome to Earth. Welcome to Earth. I know there's probably a lot you want to talk about and a lot you want to do. I'm having this cookout with a bunch of other weirdos. Would you guys come?
you guys into chicken wings? You guys want some hot dogs? What would you be in the backyard asking about? Like, if you were in this guy's situation, you get to meet Valiant Thor. What are you going to ask him?
Here's how it goes down. I'm at Dollar General. I'm trying to pick up some Boone's Farm. I'm down that aisle. I notice this guy. I say, holy crap, I think that's that alien Valiant Thor.
Okay.
So I go up to him nicely and I say, hey, Valiant Thor, my name's Todd. I saw that you landed on Earth last week.
This is awesome.
I was super stoked about you guys being here, and I figured maybe you and your friends like to come over and have a cookout with me. You in?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's going to be real cool.
you can count me in,
Why are you talking that way, Valiant Thor?
because I'm a Venetian. Do you know what a Venetian is?
No, I'm just having a cookout. Figured you'd want to come.
Yeah, I do want to come.
And Valiant Thor is like, totally in, bro. We're totally in. We get to the cookout, sit next to Valiant Thor, and my mind is running. I'm thinking to myself, I can ask this dude any question I want to ask. And he's got the information of the universe, right? So what do I ask? You guys got Rolling Rock beer on Venus?
Brought to you by Rolling Rock, the beer for Venetians.
This guy hanging out with Valiant Thor at the cookout, asking him all these questions. They're having such a great time. Do you think at some point Valiant Thor is just like,
I gotta figure out how to get out of here.
Yeah, probably.
hey, Valiant Thor, where you going? Can I ride in your spaceship? Hold on, Valiant Thor, hold on.
Dude, that is definitely a movie somewhere in there. We need to make this.
Adventures with Valiant Thor.
I feel like this podcast is just turning into movie ideas for Hollywood.
I think it should be. Why not?
You know what? At some point, Thor and his crew have to leave. They gotta go home.
They're bored of New Jersey.
Well, remember, they were only given a 3-year VIP
A Venus.
visa. They're actually aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not from here, so they have to go. According to Dr. Strange's, Valiant Thor left Earth 3 years after his first visit in 1957, but he periodically returned to Earth for more missions. On the morning of June 5th, 1968, the day of Robert Kennedy's assassination in Los Angeles, Dr. Strange's claims that Valiant Thor called him and asked him to meet him at the San Diego airport. Once he did, the two drove to a small town in Mexico called San Felipe. There, they met up with the flying saucer. On the saucer, Thor relates an earlier meeting with Bobby Kennedy, in which the extraterrestrial advised Kennedy not to run for president in 1968. Stranges and Thor then watch the Kennedy assassination on the monitor in real time on the spacecraft.
What? How?
I don't know how.
They've got a broadcast that's out of this world.
Dr. Strange's interaction with Valiant Thor had long-lasting consequences. In Strange's recollection of the events 6 years after the Robert Kennedy assassination in 1974, agents from a shadowy government agency, Strange's calls them Men in Black, ambushed a meeting between Strange's and some Venetian representatives. Dr. Strange's claims he fought off his attackers with the help of Valiant Thor's associates, but also used his own martial arts training.
Oh my gosh. Okay. now, okay. This Doctor Strange is definitely got to happen, like a movie about him.
It's got to be a comedy.
Some sort of satirical movie.
Adventures with Valiant Thor.
Doctor Strange's, who would play him?
Benedict Cumberbatch plays Dr. Strange's in the Valiant Thor movie. And in this movie, though, Tim, Dr. Strange's has this medallion that he can control time. And he is the master manipulator of time and space.
I see what you did there, Todd. That's
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. How about this? Nicolas Cage is Valiant Thor. Nicolas Cage plays Valiant Thor.
Nicolas Cage, after his stint in National Treasure 3, decides he's going to play the role of Valiant Thor.
I'm a big Nicolas Cage fan lately. Nicolas Cage as Valiant Thor. Or Doctor Strange's. He could be Doctor Strange's too.
No, that's going to be Benedict Cumberbatch.
I don't want Benedict. No. Keanu could play Valiant Thor.
It is amazing that you brought up Keanu Reeves, because that's exactly where we're going. Basically, is this story from Strange's a ripoff of The Day the Earth Stood Still?
It sort of is.
If you have seen the original 1951 classic sci-fi film, The Day the Earth Stood Still, or the 2008 reboot with Keanu Reeves, you've most likely noticed the similarities between the film's plot and Doctor Strange's account of Valiant Thor's arrival on Earth. In both Strange's story and the film, an alien visitor lands on Earth and demands to be taken to the American president, where they warn against the use of nuclear weapons. In the movie, humanity demands that the alien prove his technological superiority, and the aliens respond by turning off the Earth's power supply. In Strange's version, President Eisenhower's reaction isn't recorded, but a meeting between Eisenhower and an extraterrestrial definitely did not lead to a reduction in the country's arsenal of nuclear weapons. Is it a direct ripoff from the 1951 film The Day the Earth Stood Still?
Very likely. They were so inspired. I wasn't paying attention. Did you say at the beginning where he landed?
Yeah, Alexandria, Virginia.
So Alexandria, Virginia is how close to the Pentagon?
I don't know. You want to Google that? Alexandria, Virginia.
To Pentagon.
You're about to get flagged.
I know, right? I'm just doing a podcast. 10 minutes. It's 10 minutes away.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now the story's believable. I totally believe this story now. I'm in.
It's 5 miles away.
I'm in. 5 miles is totally true.
Okay.
So he lands 5 miles away from the Pentagon. I mean, maybe their plan was to land and to literally just walk over to the Pentagon. But this cop so happened to be there and witnessed it.
This really happened.
It's true. This whole story is true.
Man, that's amazing. I wish everybody could see the picture that I have on my web browser. It literally is 10 minutes away from Alexandria.
There it is. Story's now true.
It reminds me of the movie Critters.
It would remind you of the movie Critters.
Yeah. Critters 2, I believe.
Oh, that was a better one, yeah.
Yeah, the aliens show up, and they turn into the cops. I always love those alien stories, right, where they show up, but they're here in peace. God forbid you have to see the movie with this guy in it, but K-Pax was pretty good, too.
K-Pax with Thou Who Shall Not Be Named.
Despite that, it is a great movie. I highly recommend that movie, even though it's, a little controversial now.
Tim, do you think that this story is possible? Is it true? Or did Dr. Strange just make the whole thing up?
Boy,
Is there enough evidence there to convince you that this is a true story?
Here's the thing. I really want it to be true. It's too difficult to make the call because, sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction, right? There's the weirdest things that you would never think that would be true are. And I think that it's a neat story, and I think it could be, it definitely seems to have just been inspired by a movie for sure that had come out prior. And they're like, ooh, let's capture in on some of that. Wouldn't that be a fun thing to try?
When somebody makes these types of claims for multiple reasons, the reason that most people go after is some type of financial gain. In this particular story, Dr. Strange's did receive some financial gain. In 1967, he published the book Stranger at the Pentagon. That was for financial gain, and those just send up red flags when that happens. When people just make a claim and then they're beaten down on that claim and they don't back off of it, you go, maybe there's some belief to that, man, because they're taking a lot.
He really is an interesting character. If this is true, it would be a fun little thing to know that there is another civilization. It was a different time, right? In the 50s, it was almost like the Wild West of information in a way. You could get away with saying anything.
It was hard to validate anything that you were saying. I mean, people made wild claims. Now I think it's a little bit more difficult. We have the internet at our fingertips to quickly search somebody out. Yeah, we just, that's what you just said was bullshit, man. I'm calling you on it. That was harder to do back in the day. You could always just say, yeah, I don't know. That doesn't sound right to me, but I don't know. I guess I don't have a way to disprove or prove. Let me go into our conclusion here. To believe that we are the only intelligent life form in all of the universe, let alone our own galaxy, is quite ridiculous in my opinion. Did we win the universal lottery by ending up here on Earth? Quite possibly. From what we currently do know, scientifically speaking, is that a tremendous amount of variables must line up precisely for our version of life to exist in the cosmos. Are we beyond lucky? Perhaps. That being said, we are looking out at the universe as we do when we travel in a car in the pitch black of the night. We can only see as far as our headlights will throw, yet we don't believe that life ends where our headlights fade to black. As we peer out into space with our current technology, we can only see so far. To think that there must not be another form of advanced life out there is equivalent to driving at night with our headlights off and believing that there is no intelligent life on Earth because it is presently not visible. Did Valiant Thor and his Venetian crew arrive here on Earth back in 1957 to warn us of our future demise, or was it just a fictional story? Either way, I think we should listen and get our shit together.
A real quick side note. Supposedly, when the nuclear bomb went off,
it was a call to the universe.
Right, it rang a bell.
When we set off the first atomic bomb, that was a solar flare to the universe to say, whoa, 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 what's going on over there?
We probably got in the news, about our little civilization, for sure.
Well, Tim, I'd love to do this all night with you and sit here and talk, but I've got a spacecraft to catch so that I can go pick up Josh from Guatemala and bring him home.
Ah, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, tell him I said hey, and will you guys, before you enter back into the Venetian insides, will you just take a picture and send it to me of your travels?
You bet I will, buddy.
I want to see the inside of your Venus.
I bet you do.
No.
You said not. You wanted to see the inside of my Venus.
Just it is a dirty, dirty planet. Uranus is dirty. Venus is dirty. What? Do you like how I said Uranus?
Yes, I do. Tim, I think you're the absolute best.
No, I love you, Todd.
I love you too, buddy. Love you, Josh.
So we miss you, Josh. Next time we'll have him back, hopefully.
Be sure to subscribe to the Created by Human podcast. Leave us a review. Follow us on our socials at Created by Human. Head over to createdbyhuman.com for additional information. Sign up on our mailing list and check out our Created by Human swag. Does it just sound like gibberish? We'll be back next week with an all-new story that is sure to make you question, is it true or was it